Recently, I came across a study that talked about 5 traits to disciple making in the home. 5 traits to disciple making in the home. All right? What this study did was it found of homes that actually make disciples, there are 5 traits that when these 5 traits are common, the rate of children and kids abandoning their faith is greatly reduced. It's not a foolproof plan, but it reduces the odds, the chances that your children will walk away from Jesus. So, what are those 5 traits? Want to know what they are? All right, number 1. These parents eat meals with their kids regularly at home. What? Are you kidding me? That's right. They have regular family meals. You know what happens around meal times? You talk. You find out what's going on in your lives, in your hearts. You have problems and situations that come up, and you share back and forth as little children, and as they grow, it's relationship. That's what it is. The second trait is these parents serve with children in a ministry. In other words, the parents don't just serve, they bring their children along and they serve together. They don't bring them along and they just say, you watch me and you know, just hang out, don't get in trouble, and we'll leave later. They say, no, you come along. The third trait is that these parents entrust children with ministry responsibility at an early age. In other words, you're training and you're equipping your children with age-appropriate responsibilities at every stage of the game. You're not like turning this over to somebody else, but you're saying, you know what? I need to do this. This is my responsibility to train up and equip my own children. And as they get older, as they go through the different phases of life, you're giving them responsibility. You know what? It's a powerful message to these kids that God loves you, God made you, He's gifted you, and you are an important part of His kingdom. The fourth trait is that there is one weekly spiritual experience in the home. What's that experience look like? Well, mom breaks out the piano, sings some hymns, dad no, it's not that at all. It is the fact that there is at one point in the week where you pray together with your kids, or where you read a verse or a chapter in the Bible with your kids, or where you have a conversation about what you heard or what they heard on Sunday. It is just a matter, one time a week, doesn't take a lot, but one time a week on a regular basis, week after week after week after week after week throughout their lives, they're having a spiritual experience with you as mom or dad. Again, it's not rocket science. If we want to raise children to know, love, and faithfully follow Jesus, it begins in the homes with fathers and with mothers. And that's the first prong that we mentioned earlier. But there's a second prong, the one that we far too often underestimate. And that's the fourth trait, or the fifth trait, and that is this, that children in these homes have at least one faith-focused adult in their lives other than their parents. In other words, they have a relationship with another follower of Jesus beyond their parents that they can talk with. That's so important. Why is this important? Because there comes a point in time when your children no longer want to listen to you as a parent. How many parents have experienced that? Can I get a witness, all right? You're like, my kids are only 3, they don't listen to me anymore. I get it. You wait till they're 13, then, let's talk. You see, when your kids say, Mom and Dad are nuts, they don't know anything, I'm smarter than everybody in the world. You know when kids get to that point, right? It's at that point that your child needs someone who is already embedded in their life, who will continue to disciple your child, and a lot of times that is your teenager. Now, let me say this, as I've gone through these 5 traits of homes that disciple their children. Now, listen, because you need to track along with what I'm getting ready to say. You can do all of these things perfectly, and some of your children will walk away from their faith. It's true. The odds go down that will happen, but you can do all of these things. You can be the perfect parent, do all of these things and more, and your children still abandon their faith. And the converse is true. You could have absolutely bombed all of these things, and your children find and follow faithfully Jesus their whole life long. Isn't God good? There is always hope for your children, regardless of how great or not great of a parent you were. But the research says when parents do this, there's a difference in the outcome of their child's life